everyone, I'm back again with the importance of opening up our heart space, our field, in comparison to the head space, which is a repeat limited stream of functioning that really does not compare to having an open-minded space, because that's what the heart space is. It's open. It's the best way I can describe it. So I've got some notes that I want to read about that and speak about in the moment, but in saying the heart space is the open space and the head is the limited, like the continual stream that people will reach for that's familiar, like the head is ego dominant, is using the head too much. So I know these patterns, this is familiar, everything works out when I do it like this, I'm used to this, etc., etc. Now, it's good to hold on to things that work for us, that are producing good results. But really, what is good results and success? It is the heart space, because you can't live without it, and the world's a better place for it. So in this diagram, which the green is a bit light there. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, so this would be the heart space representation, the big circle. And this would be the head space, which says, I don't know, I'll just do the same, which is the training. Train to think, be, and stay small to please what's already in place. But in the heart space, we don't just resort to, I don't know, I'll just do the same thing. Yes, we do know. So the training we've been working under is like a small, lower vibrational aspect, like you don't know any different, or, you know, that limitation space. Keep things the same. Don't rock the boat. Don't introduce change. This is the way we've always done it. Well, I've spoken about that before, so I won't go into that too much, but that's the obvious point, that when we're trained this way to think, be, and stay small or the same, it is to please something already in place. So when we have an inclination in our soul or heart to follow through on something, and we go back to that stuff, we tell ourselves in this small mind space, I don't know what to do. But in the heart space, if you go within, yes, we do. So now I'll come back to my notes about why, and I'm going to do a meditation walkthrough again to do with the expansion of what, to notice when the heart space is more important than following through on the same that we've known. Like for us to get at essence, that's the very consciousness shift in importance. So the meditation necessity daily is the inner connection wants to speak more to you, wants you to meet it and make space. Making this change or adjusting life to include your inner world awareness more against all adversity will move mountains. In other words, creates great change and transformation than you thought possible. The decluttering brings up your balance of holistic light being, supported by transmissions to the earth you never thought possible. Don't be in a rush with egoic nature of us, like we want to be somewhere achieving something, Breathe and ask and take time to open energy. This will build your confidence in the subtle, informative nature of your energy field that wants communication with you becoming whole with your soul. This is where and how our true nature is more powerful. So this is where it lies. Is more powerful, and we are in this shift to not rely on old egoic nature platforms that ask us to compete or be separate. This contradicts our wholeness nature of spirit. We let go of demands on ourselves and others, and we free our energy. Now, I know that's a big statement, but that's where it's at, because we've believed in the demands on ourselves, keeping things the same. I must operate a certain way. I must do this. I must. But we need to go actually subtle to expand rather than demand. Because in the subtle is the strengthening of our heart, soul, the space we all want to live in. Our spirits communing take over powerful direction of ourselves. And so I'll go back to this, which is the head is a key. We use the head in life, obviously, but we can't just operate in the head, because that's when we get the ego taking over. And so what else does the human function as a spirit? It has inspirations, desires. So the head has to be in agreement with the heart. So the head is like the key that unlocks the heart. Because if you don't have the head agreeing with your desires or inspirations to create, to open up that heart space, and do the practice of meditation for what appears to be subtle at first, but is you and strong and needs to be lived out. So the head is like a key listening to this field of the heart. Opening the heart is the space. So let your head use the key to take the time out, listening and giving acknowledgement to this space that we are. And that's it in a nutshell. But obviously, day by day, you're the one to do that. So the I don't know from who we think we are, and we give power to this, which is built on the repeat. It can be built on force and demand and, loudness and easy route. I call that the easy route. The easy route of getting out of life. I don't actually have to transform if I'm being loud and annoying and avoiding what I actually have to transform in myself. So with the I don't know, small mind going around and around, making us feel small and low, and not listening and doing the heart space and actually acting on it, it expands the I don't know. So then the human being feels lost, their energy's low. They allow toxic kind of behaviors and patterns to evolve, and it just becomes more unconscious to their soul. So that training just keeps telling you, you don't know the answers, I'll just keep doing the same thing, and the same vibrations are taking them lower and lower, and they're wondering, and they just get louder and louder, why they're not actually, moving forward happily. So you use You use the head to say, I've got to act on these things. My being, my heart, I have to be a part of these things. This is the separate mentality. And I've got the keys, I'll work it out. But not if you don't acknowledge from yourself that you're not participating at the heart level consciousness. So the head is the ego talk, doubt, and there is less motion to do with heart happy activity, or even some challenging activity that has to be done to bring your inspirations about. So head builds up in doubt because there's less motion and less change. So of course that lower vibrational smallness, and if you choose to stay in it, I don't know what's going on, but yes, we actually do if we expand who we really are and act on some love. So the yes we do is the fact that we're light, and it expands the interior being. It says, yes, although that's difficult, walk the path of that, true desire. Open up those true things that you want. You're feeling it, you see it, you want it for a reason. You've got to do this opening up of yourself. Okay? Because there is no high and mighty, or there is no Jesus Savior. We are actually the light, the same as Jesus, inside. So we are the ones to activate that, and it's not in what actually took him out. It's in standing like he did and being yourself and helping others, and this is the light. So, that's not one particular person, and that's not one particular leader, and, we just follow along and, I don't know, feel like crap, see crap happening, etc. Because that's where consciousness is at. If we look at something that's crappy, what do? Are we just like going to go along with it? Or are we actually going to say, well, hang on a second, my heart says this, and bring that to life? And sometimes that's hard to do in this shift, but it's getting better and easier because we're standing in that light. So yeah, the heart knows, no doubt. It's always the head blocking that key getting in. Work with what the heart wants. Take the head along with what the heart wants. It's like the head in the back seat and the heart driving. Once the key turns in the ignition, the heart knows, no doubt. The heart will love a drive, like open space. Where do I go next in my life? Where the head is like still sitting there, wondering if he'll put the key in the ignition. Or, all sorts of talk like, why isn't the world bringing it to me? My car's not running. Well, what do you want to do? Let the heart drive. Or will you just continue to drive the same track to and from wherever, doing the same things and stomping your foot and waiting, or even getting, in traffic, pissed off as such, right? But it's a regular thing, like the traffic isn't working to your benefit. Whereas from the heart perspective, which I remember this shift in me, it's like I can't change others. I can't change what the lights are doing. But the amazing thing is, when you don't have that perspective of wanting to change the outside anymore, and you are working from the ignition of continually opening up to break away from the old, that change is a natural transformational part of life, then if you're not focused on the red lights you get, or you're not concentrating and blaming the traffic, then things actually run differently, because attention goes where your focus is. So if you're focusing on those things, your energy is going to be in that same focus stream. But if I can't change things, I might just play some favorite songs, I'll just, not to be too blasé, but you've decided you're going to enjoy your life because you can't change stuff out there, but you can change how you feel, and that changes in a ripple more than we actually believe. So if you could sit in the space, which we'll do in the meditation, that when I am directly sending my energy out for a particular specific intent, what am I going to do if I don't get it? And that's like a downward kind of spiral if you're so set on a specific intent. But if you are a higher light being come to live on earth, and you embrace that for as much as you can, and your energy isn't sharply or heavily or dependent on, or it must be, like, forget that. You've let go of it. Bit by bit, you let go of it. And that's what coming home with acknowledgement to your heart space is. And you embody that, then we have less and less people being so specific on each other, judgmental, exploding at each other, so dependent on things running their way, and it has to, for them. We have less and less of that. And I mean, I don't know if you feel into that when I said it, but like, that is completely different to being in a limited, framed, feeling, trained mindset of, you can look across in traffic and some people are just like so serious on, like, it's like nothing's gonna go my way. So in that energy, nothing's going to go their way. Yeah, it's along the spectrum of that. You just see the seriousness of life instead of, what is the pile of things I'm thinking about when I could be like not so seriously dependent on these things. Yeah, we don't realize, but we're going to over time, that we are really attached to things that are really not as important as we think they are. And we spend a lot of time, and you can read it on people's faces, just in a glimpse. And then suddenly you might feel, oh, is that my energy? But it's actually someone else who's holding on to a lot of stuff like, this had better happen. I had better get this done. Oh, what if that doesn't happen? You can just see it. And it's like, well, you're not actually present for the here and now. So you're going to get caught up in anything. And so the more that we come home to our spiritual connection of heart desires and be responsive to letting go of specific held patterns that create ideals of things have to be a certain way, then we'll actually easily be guided more to our heart's purpose for our soul's specific intent. Like, we all have different soul-specific intent, but you can't control the human world. You've got to follow your own specific soul's intent. Okay, and you've got to be accepting that you can't change it. And this is the heart space for all who have come to do this. So the light expands. Yes, we do know the answers. We are not this negative patterns and ideals. The light expands, the light of our heart, the spending time in our energy field, expands interior being like, seriously, a sunrise, the solar plexus. And the solar plexus assists the heart expression, the heart and the expression. It's like a sunrise. And when you're in that space, you then realize the whole perspective that you are a part of, instead of the very minuscule, held down in structure that we follow, hypnotized. We can break free of that, cut the cords, and choose to open to a different kind of held space. And why? Because that's what we are. We are not this. And it's okay to be this. Follow points in the day. You got to get some things done. But it's when the body, the solar plexus, starts to attach to, this is who I am. If I don't get that and I don't do that, that's when you keep yourself down, and like the energy is like pulling on you. And we essentially do that to ourselves, but it is a part of the training of the energy on the planet. So we have to catch what we're actually giving our precious life force to. And so taking I guess it is a chance, it is like a leap of faith when you've lived in this trained mindset way, to think to yourself, you know, various things, because that really is making the shift on the spiritual path. I remember doing it more and more, and now it's just an acceptance. But it's like, this is the way I have lived. This is the way people expect it to be. This is the operation set in place. But, ding, 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 the solar plexus don't feel that way. And I don't feel good if I'm following what they want. So you got to listen to this. This is your soul speaking, and this is your heart space that the earth needs your expansion of. The earth literally needs our expansion of. And we are the brave ones that have come to look at this difference and the distance of who we really are and who we've been manipulated into being. And now I don't speak of manipulation like solely of an outside force, because this, I don't know, going round and round and round, is our constant recognition that we're doing the same things. So it's the waking up of our internal power that we don't have to do the same training. And that can look like many things to all of us. So it really is that inner world journey that you expand. And you do it with, like your inner world is your best friend, so you must take care of it. So when you come up against adversity, you're not just gonna run because the world wants you to stay a certain way, or because someone's had an idea and you gotta fit it. You're going to stop with your interior world that you are, because meditation is that daily necessity. And we'll talk more about it being called meditation, because it's not about leaving who you are and going to another space. It's about embracing exactly who you are and waiting in that space, using your consciousness to say, okay, I'm giving my power away to that. I'm changing for the outside world, or I'm trying to fit the outside world. Does that feel good? Or what would I prefer to feel good? And then you've got to be quiet for that, because that's the internal voice that hasn't had its strength of expression. Because we've had to come here and be brave and courageous in looking at how the operation has been, but how it doesn't feel right, and bring the light. And that's what we're in the midst of in the rise. So let's join with ourselves in that. if I'm not looking at you, the screen, when I speak or in meditation, it's because it's not essentially about Teresa. It's about us in the energy field and how we feel. So how you feel hearing, and what you feel when you stop listening. It's what you take. And so I just want to say that for when I'm closing my eyes sometimes or not, joining with my guides both ways, eyes open or eyes shut, or if I'm looking directly at the screen with intent, purpose, it's all to do with the energy field, and there is no particular way. And so it's not to look at me and say, you need to be a certain way, or, because sometimes learning and teaching this relationship, because the teacher is always learning as well. So it's not like the teachers know everything, because they are just like the learner. They are a learner as well. And they will be taught by others in their experience. So we just need to keep that open, just lightheartedness. What do I take? What inspires something in me? It's not like my head has to think my way through it. Which I remember when I first started really engaging in meditation and sitting in that space, I would have the head block that would say, how and what am I meant to feel? And it's in the letting go of the mind saying that you're in the space, allowing the feel. So then, you get to know that space, and you listen to that space draw you to other people, or you hear things, or want to follow something particular, or you don't, or you like bits and pieces, or you don't. So yeah, it's an energy receipt. So it's not necessarily how someone, it's just what you take from the energy of it. So it doesn't have to be a certain way. Okay, so we'll take a seat, and I'll just do a little clearing symbol. So just join at your heart center space. I do various things joining with the energy of the wider space, and it is a representation of the energy I join with as well. So because they are wise ones, that can take the most spontaneous shape. And that's why there's no limitation. We are not limited in our expression into form. This is representative. It's diamond soul in the sphere of life. The sphere doesn't have definitive edges when it comes to connection. We're sovereign in soul, and that is flexible in expansion. Ground yourself in this awareness. Ground yourself in your wisdom. Now that is a massive and spacious breath that you are a part of. Never limited mindset. And that's why you would feel unease in limitation of mindset. Not come here to live unease. Never will this be strengthening. To balance yourself in unease. intelligent beings of vast reality. You must let this vastness in to greet. You have a light consistently above your temples of the soul, at the peak of your diamonds. And at the descent of your glow. The glow may seem hidden at this descent point of your diamond, but never was it or will it not be your own. Rest in this peaceful glow, your soul. Rest in this peaceful glow, globe. As your soul. Your soul. Your heart. Your soul. Offer to all. Your heart, soul, glow. Descent is important to acknowledge in your space of meditate. For what are you without this depth? You are more than the surface. Way more. And the struggle to descend into and bring up through you your true mission. Is what heaven is shining on with you. Never alone. Don't let go of it in the struggle or descent. Descend or descent is essentially uprising. To shine a light on your wholeness. Instead of mimicking life's surface. If this triggers you, stay with it. You go deep. Staying on the surface will not break this pattern, reaction. When depth is the key. The depth of your whole reality. Becoming whole with your soul. Becoming whole with this reality. Making space for all to see. Not living hidden reality. Breaking into the depth for a new reality. Waiting for us to break open into. When locks hit keyholes, keys. My mind is trying to make sense of my message. I'll follow the message and get my mind out of the way. When locks hit keys. New reality. When locks hit keys. New realities. You are the lock, you are the key. Heart opening from head reality. New world, you see. Head couldn't imagine it new frequencies into being. A head could not discover this in any way, shape or form, only using it, the head. It is only in that amazing construct of opening from the chest that the head has been valuable and viable in expansion. And this space and this new place you found and find more and more unbelievable. Now stay there. It's real. Let's be the lotus flower now. The root system in silence is that space and place we just found. It's real. The expanse. It was never, is never limitation. In this space and place now. What does it look like for the feeling coming from your soul? Go deeper into the chest space where the fire engages the heart space. This is your soul. You want to stay there. And you want to, for now, kiss goodbye the world as you know it. In all its beauty, in all its agony, in all its detriment, pain, train of discipline against the heart and soul expansion. This is your space. This is your flame. You're always in motion, gently, gently now, in this place. love it. Don't fear the quiet, subtle. Trust it. It's really you. The gap has been no acknowledgement here. That all comes from our physical efforting. Gratitude time now. In the silent space, in the trusting place. This is you. In time, in this trusting space, place you make happen, no, in availability to it. You come back to it, you let it happen, you give acknowledgement. You might need to start off just in subtle, kind of unconscious recognition that there's something there and it's going to occur to me in my way. It's not driven like what they say. The choices I make out there need to be acknowledged from what I want in here, building its space. This is my place. This is truly important self-soul nourishment, nourishing in motion, that your energy is in like motion, and you don't need to gap or have a gap where this is walled in, telling oneself they must hide this in suffering and put it down like it's the ground they walk on because out here is too loud. Out here is too loud, and we need to bring forth that we don't need to be loud. We bring that forth from that spiritual, subtle oneness, beauty, loving frequency connection that is empowerment. We are not the loud, nor do we need to join it, fight it, battle, demand it change. Let it dissipate. The strengthening is in this quiet space, quiet place, trusting space, one with divine entity, beingness. Don't get drawn in from this time frame living, but in the time that you're here, bring this strength. So this starts with the nurturing, like you are the fire or fireplace, and you are the wood placer. You are the one that says, I'm sitting for my fire right now. Or I'm doing something in the world for my fire right now. So in the sitting of this, you're taking a stand, whether in meditation, strengthening, and let it speak, because it will. But you have to come home to that center, fire, alignment, and let go and stay there. So as we know in the Western world, meditation will help us clear our thoughts. But if we keep coming back, like putting the fire in our fireplace, it does more than that. It strengthens our soul. And all of us don't know, otherwise we wouldn't have come here. All of us don't know all of what we're capable of, but from this place, our energy gets clearer and clearer, and it doesn't have to be an obvious thing in the world. Whatever you are drawn to your center to do, right? You're in your center, and whatever your center and you commune with, from putting the wood in your fire and staying there, and remembering that spirituality and this strengthening is not then getting up and using ego in the world as a shortcut to get there. Because you're defeating the purpose of what spirit is here to open your soul in light, bringing awareness. Now this is not obviously in spirituality is just high and light and positivity. Obviously, life we know is never going to be that, but I tell you, this centering is going to clear a lot of the crap. Okay, so the point of saying that was, we're doing the work. Don't go and let it backfire thinking, my spirit's okay. My spirit's okay. I might just still carry on with those separatist kind of actions, beliefs, ideals, because I'm spiritual when I come home to myself. You know, these kind of things. When spirituality is non-stop, and if you're here to assist in the evolution, then get your mind centered in the focus of what that really is, and you won't go out and do the opposite. You'll think before you act. You'll take notice of other things you've been doing, and you'll say, okay, if I want the world to be a better place, it's in every action I'm doing. If I want to catch myself, or even if I slip up and I do something the old way, and I realize on a grand perspective that I am here a part of, it doesn't help if I keep doing that. And it doesn't. And that's the consciousness expansion out of the head and into the heart ripple effect. So let's just remember that spirit is everything and ego is something. What are we emphasizing? Because overemphasis of egoic ways is bringing energy down for ourselves and temporarily for others, unless you're like pushing them down, down, down. which they'd have to be very disempowered to do that, which is what's been happening on this planet. But we are empowerment individuals. Follow the signs of that. So as I was saying, ego is down in energy. If we're enforcing that something be down for us to lift up, that's obviously not balanced. The ripple effect is not helpful, doesn't really go anywhere, not a lot of motion, more doubt that they can act or bring balance. Yeah, so the tip is there. So when you have the awareness that it is a internal world for everyone, and everyone can do it, but it's the acknowledgement in, do I keep tipping the balance, or do I work for spirit? Spirit of all of us. Because that's the light. That we are, I am. That's what we must stand firm in. And so what seems subtle and not very helpful, like, how is meditation going to help anything? Well, it's getting out of the egoic structures and acknowledging the Vasta. And how does that work? We are the world. So what we do matters. And don't ever discount that, please, because in the smallest of action that may only matter to one person, you think, the heavens shine on that. That's the magic. That's the juice of empowerment. That's the light, the life. That we want growth of. Love your life as much as you can. And so on farewelling you all now, thank you for your attention, listening, being in this oneness space with me. My notes I would like to finish with just a couple of paragraphs. The more you allow depth, it's okay when stuff comes up. Breathe and love being in your heart space. The development benefits less and less stuff attracting to your field. So when you come across anything at all, when you want to enter your heart space, breathe and remember perhaps the last time you were in it and just a feeling place, and let yourself go there. And don't doubt that that's your heart space. Now let yourself, even if you feel like a child that goes, everything's all right. Because really, essentially, that's the truth. But the outside world has an energy field where we think it's not. Don't buy into that, okay? That is not who we are. It's the... So you're starting to sit, do what makes you comfortable, have a quiet space, have a surrounding where you can just sit, and that's going to be your space. Perhaps you can have a table, an altar, perhaps you can have just one candle, perhaps you have an ornament, a photo, a picture, something that is just suited to a quiet heart space. Stop. This is my space. Wherever I come up with something trying to enter this space, I breathe and then go into that energy of this place and love that. And then look at anything that comes from the mind gently or determinedly say no thanks. I'm going to embody this space more, because this space will allow an ease and flow answer, letting that mind go. Okay, that sounds very simple, but that grows. You enter this space, the answers for other things answer themselves. That's the truth of our soul luminous connection as a spiritual being spherically. This is how we work with our soul as a spiritual being. We don't think with the head all the time and stay in puzzled states. We make that space for our fireplace. And for some, especially masculine, male or female, like determined individuals that, you know, we've been trained and, you know, all this energy that we carry, that things are done like this. Just be innocent in childlike allowance that you're allowed to have this inner child space, that you don't have to take on the serious, okay? Because there's enough time in life that we will be, but we don't take it on like it is us. So that's why you break open like a new root system space, doing that subtle childlike, even like the adult might say, I feel like an idiot just sitting here right at the beginning. But just remind yourself, it's because you're opening a space within that we're not trained to, or we think it's weird or anything like that. And that would be the ego environment telling you you're not anything but that. So remember that this is going to be a quiet, subtle shifting, definitely does, spatial awareness, expansive. And when you get right into it, endless vastness, connective reality. I don't even want to say space or place, because you realize your sovereign being is now open to massive, infinite intelligence. The head's out of the way. You're in your heart space. And then the heart teaches us, as we embody it, We'll still use the head, the heart says. We'll still use the head. It's part of us. We just won't let it take over anymore. There's too much vastness of unlimited in all of our connections. And we're going to notice it more and more because we decided we'd come home to ourselves in the subtle. So it is a feeling journey. And because we've been trained into not feeling so much, and it's not like for those masculine that are used to the particular and anything else, that's not for me. It is a conscious letting go. And even use your disciplined ways in saying, I'm consciously going to let go of the outside world and engage to grow this awareness of my whole space, which is essentially your soul, sovereign soul, wanting to come through and become your space. And it can't if we're constantly at a tug of war. This is the conscious inner being must be disciplined to the head space that says. The heart inner being says, I've had enough of the tug of war in anything in life. And in this time spent kindling this fire or large log, I'm staying put to know it in this space. And the last thing I'll say with this last paragraph is, in the doubt that comes up, let the fire be what it's well known for. Burning off energies. So that's where you don't go to the mind, but you say, staying in this space burns off what doesn't serve me. Last point I've got a note of is we become presence in life. We don't need to fill it up when things don't seem to be happening. We need to become content to let our inner presence expand in presence. Heart, 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 smiley face, star. And then I've got 2 dot points with the word feeling in the middle. Because it changes the way you feel, and that changes your life. God bless everyone. Thanks for joining me. Massively grateful and all your input into this space and place that is our home, planet Earth, and beyond us, what we can't see coming out here, coming through us, sharing our whole connection with this cycle, our heart space. as divine beings. It's like a pointer to say what comes through us is going to cycle back, and it just gets bigger and more massive. And I'd just like to say a gratitude thanks, because the memory spark of that years ago in my early 30s was when one of my teachers, who I love, admire and watch often, Sonia Chiquette, I did one of her courses and we were in the heart space. And I think it was the one where we were doing the mantras of the different chakras. And that was awesome. And we would hold the hand positions of the chakras as well. Anyway, Sonia reminded us all that this powerful heart space of us is the cycle of life. And so what we do give out is coming back. So don't be afraid in this world where giving is not like the usual and it's more keeping in. We feel like that's the way of life. It's just so nice. When I heard it, it's just like, that was a space I had to sit in for a while, because it was so like, why aren't we doing that? You know? We all know that when we give, it feels good. And to be reminded that that's, you know, that's spirit. Anyway, it opened up a whole other thing for me, so I just like to give thanks to that, because it's truly magic. When we're in that course and you visualize green and repeat the mantra in Hindu. It was quite a few years ago now, you know, 15 to 20. And yeah, it just opens the whole space of your energy and everything. And it's just like, yeah, why aren't we there yet? But we're getting there. You know, the opening awareness of our heart space, and don't be frightened of it, because it's what we need to embody on this planet. So gracias, everybody. Thank you so much. Do your internal work with subtlety and ease. Connect with that flow. And it does feel like this diamond-shaped cup is just, you know, expansive. I don't want to leave you, because I really enjoy sharing from the heart space. Like the whole energy of the fact that there's a planet here, you know. Perhaps meditate on that beautiful thought next time. Bye for now. See you again soon.